Nobody tells young men this. Divorce isn't about love, it's about money. The moment you say I do, you're entering into a legal contract that can strip you of your income, your kids, your home, and it won't matter who is at fault. The family court system is also built to benefit women. Think that sounds like an exaggeration? Just wait. We're about to walk through some of the most ruthless, outrageous divorce cases ever documented. Real men, real losses, and not a single one got justice. These divorce horror stories will show you exactly why marriage has become the most dangerous contract a man can sign, and why, when it ends, there's only one rule. She leaves with the rewards, you stay with the wreckage. It started with a traffic stop. Carnell Alexander was driving home when police pulled him over. They ran his license. They gave him the news. There was a warrant out for his arrest. The charge? Unpaid child support. Carnell was confused. He didn't have any children, at least none he knew of. But that didn't matter. Years earlier, a woman had put his name down on welfare paperwork as the father of her child. No DNA test, no court appearance, no signature. She did it to qualify for government benefits. Carnell was never told. He was never served, and he never had a chance to respond. By the time he found out, the state of Michigan had already locked him in as the legal father, and years of backdated payments were piling up. Eventually, a DNA proved what he'd said all along. He wasn't the father. Even the mother admitted he wasn't the father. But none of that mattered to the court, because under Michigan law, the deadline to challenge paternity had already passed. So the judge ruled against him, not because the facts were wrong, but because he didn't challenge the lie quickly enough. In the end, Carnell was still ordered to pay over $30,000 in child support for a child that science and common sense said wasn't his. Think about what this means. A woman can name you, the system can label you, and unless you catch it early, you're locked in for life. Doesn't matter if she lied, doesn't matter if science clears you. All that matters is that a man pays. In most divorces, you split what you have, but in this one, he had to split what he didn't even have yet. A California software engineer went through a divorce after nearly a decade of marriage. He'd worked long hours, built equity in his company, and had unvested stock options set to pay out in the future. But when the divorce was finalized, the court ruled that those future options, even the ones that hadn't earned yet, were community property. That meant she got a share of something that didn't even exist at the time. Not a bonus, not a bank account, but his future. It didn't matter that those options were tied to future performance, or that they weren't guaranteed. The court said they were reasonably anticipated compensation. So now, every time he worked late, every time the company grew or earned a new milestone, she got paid too. She walked away from the marriage, but stayed financially attached to his success long after it ended. Think about what that sets up. You build something, she leaves, and the court lets her profit from your success for years after she has gone. Everyone knows who Jeff Bezos is, founder of Amazon, one of the richest men in the world. But when he divorced his wife, Mackenzie Scott, in 2019, she walked away with 25% of their Amazon stock, worth about $38 billion. No scandal or betrayal, no reason beyond the fact that their marriage ended. Now, yes, she was there during the early years. Yes, she supported him. But she didn't take the risk, she didn't scale the business, she wasn't the one running Amazon. Yet, when it was over, the court said that being present during the rise was enough to entitle her to billions. She didn't have to stay or build anything, she just had to be there and then walk. What does that tell you? You can create something from the ground up, you can sacrifice, push, and bleed to build it. But the moment it ends, the person who didn't build it can still walk away with more than most men will earn in a lifetime. Because in the eyes of the law, standing next to the builder is enough to get paid. Meet the man who was a U.S. Army soldier. He was deployed overseas on active duty. While he was gone, his wife filed for divorce. Without his knowledge, she emptied their joint accounts, filed for full custody of the kids, and petitioned for alimony. By the time he returned home, it was already in motion. Temporary orders had been granted. She had the house, she had the kids, and the court backed it all. His deployment, his service to his country, was used against him. Because he wasn't physically present, the judge ruled that she had been the primary caregiver. So she got the kids, and he was ordered to pay her monthly support. He didn't abandon his family. He was fulfilling his duty. But that didn't matter. He went to war for his country while she went to court for his assets. That's what marriage looks like now. A contract she can exit whenever it benefits her most. Some divorce stories are outrageous. Others are so common they don't even shock people anymore. And that's what makes them dangerous. This is one of the most normal and most quietly devastating ways men lose their children. By doing exactly what society told them to do. Work hard, provide, sacrifice. He had a full-time job, his wife stayed home. And when the marriage ended, she claimed to be the primary caregiver. The court agreed. She got custody, he got visitation, and he was ordered to pay child support. It didn't matter that he supported the entire household or that he wanted equal time with his kids. All that mattered was that he wasn't home during the day. He was punished for being the provider, for doing the very thing that made family life possible. This isn't rare, it's not a glitch in the system. It is the system. And millions of men have no idea it's coming until it's too late. Take the case of a man who was ordered to pay lifetime alimony to his ex-wife. Not for 5 years, not until she got back on her feet, for life. The amount was based on what he was earning at the time, over $1 million a year. It was a heavy obligation, but he kept paying. Then came the downturn. His business took a hit. Clients left, his income dropped sharply. He went back to court, thinking the order would be adjusted. After all, how can you keep paying what you no longer make? But the court didn't care. The alimony stayed exactly the same. Why? Because she had been accustomed to that standard of living, and the law said it was his job to maintain it, even if he couldn't maintain it for himself. He couldn't afford it and fell behind, and so he was jailed for non-payment. That's how the system works. Her lifestyle was locked in. His financial collapse wasn't even a factor. You can lose everything and still be expected to fund the life that she used to have. Consider what happened to a man who won the lottery. He had separated from his wife. They were living apart. The divorce wasn't finalized yet, but they were done. Then he hit the jackpot. He won millions. He thought the timing was clear. They were no longer together. She didn't help him buy the ticket. She wasn't part of his life when he won. But in court, none of that mattered. Because the divorce papers weren't officially signed, the winnings were considered marital property. The judge ruled that even though the relationship was over, and even though she had nothing to do with the win, she was still entitled to half. Just let that sink in. He got lucky once and unlucky in court after. In the eyes of the law, she didn't need to contribute. She just needed to be legally attached when the money arrived. Then there's the story of the man who supported his wife through medical school. He covered the tuition, paid the bills, took care of everything so she could focus on becoming a doctor. It was supposed to be an investment in their future. Until she decided to end the marriage right after she finished school. He thought he'd done the right thing, sacrificed for the long term, built something together. But when they divorced, the court didn't see it that way. Instead of recognizing what he contributed, the court awarded her even more. Because she had taken time off to study and wasn't earning during the marriage, he was ordered to compensate her further, even though he had already paid for the entire degree, even though she would now go on to earn hundreds of thousands of dollars as a doctor. He paid for the education, then paid again for the fact that she had one. That's how the system views sacrifice. It's not remembered, it's penalized. Finally, there is Melissa Miller. She was married for less than 3 years. No kids, no business, no shared empire. And when it ended, the UK courts awarded her £5 million, over $6.25 million US dollars. That works out to over $2 million per year invested into the marriage. That's all it took. This isn't rare, it's the model. According to wealth research, 67% of high net women attribute their wealth to divorce. They were not doing the building or investing, but instead they just left the man who did. Marriage used to be about loyalty. Now it's one of the fastest, easiest ways for a woman to get rich. The courts don't measure contribution, only how comfortable she got. Once she's in the lifestyle, you're expected to maintain it. Marriage is the only contract where one side gets rewarded for breaking it. That's why more men aren't walking away from marriage, they're running. If you found this video insightful, you might like another one on a similar topic. Click on the thumbnail to watch or keep exploring. Also, please comment, like, and subscribe to the channel.